When did the words Tasawwuf and Sufi appear? To whom was the name Sufi first given? Who is the first writer to use the words Tasawwuf and Sufi? Now, let's look at the answers to these questions together. First of all, it should be said that the words Tasawwuf and Sufi are not mentioned in the Quran. Likewise, they are not mentioned in authentic hadith books. Even if some narrations are included in some Sufi works from time to time, we can say that these narrations do not have a reliable chain in terms of hadith criteria. Likewise, the words Tasawwuf and Sufi did not encounter it in the period of the companions, Ashab, and the Tabi'un. According to Qushayri, Muslims in the time of our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not think of being called anything other than Sahabi, that is companion, because the name of Sahabi, which expresses friendship with the Prophet, was the greatest honor for them. Muslims who saw the companions of our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not use a name other than Tabi'un, again with the same thought, because the name Tabi'un also contained the honor of being follower to the Prophet and his companions. Those who saw the Tabi'un were also called the Tabi'ut Tabi'in. However, when the Tabi'ut Tabi'in period came, due to the widening of the borders of the Islamic world and the increase in the level of prosperity, inclination to the world increased, and there was a weakening in the religiosity. For this reason, some names began to be given to people who were meticulous about obeying the orders of religion. In this context, we can count Abid, who gives himself to worship, Zahid, who turns away from the world, Bekka, who cries a lot, and Nasik, who devotes himself to God. By the middle of the 2nd century Hijri, we see that the concept of Sufi began to be used. Qushayri stated that the name Sufi became famous before 200s Hijri. So, who was the first person to use the nickname Sufi? Many names are mentioned in this regard. However, if have to mention the two names that appear most often, the first of them is Abu Hashim al-Kufi. Abdurrahman Jami began his biographical work Nafahatul Uns with the name Abu Hashim and stated that Abu Hashim was the first person to be called a Sufi. Sufyan Sevri, on the other hand, said about his contemporary Abu Hashim, "Until I saw Abu Hashim, I did not know who to call a Sufi and what it was." The second name, who is claimed to be the first to use the Sufi nickname, is Jabir bin Hayyan, a chemist, natural philosopher, and versatile scholar. It is claimed that the concept of Sufi was first used in Kufa and Basra because both Abu Hashim and Jabir bin Hayyan were from Kufa. So, who is the first writer to mention the word Sufi in his works? According to Nicholson's determination, the first writer to use this word is Jahiz. Jahiz is one of the most important names of Arabic literature and Mu'tazila school. According to Kalabazi, the following names were given to the Sufis: Ghuraba, because they leave their homeland; Sayyahin, because they traveled to many lands; Shkeftiya, because they took shelter in caves in time of need when they travel; Ju'iyya, because they eat the amount of necessity and usually starve; Fuqara, because they don't have anything because they distribute what they have; Nuriya, because they tried to illuminate their hearts.